Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on in. We're going to take a peek at a collective message. I released a different collective message earlier today. It was actually one that I had recorded last night or sometime yesterday anyway, but it couldn't come out. Did I release it last night? Today? No, I think today. Anyway, and it was very bumpy. It was very bumpy. And so I just kind of wanted to do a collective message for kind of a whatever the messaging may be. And we start with a Three of Pentacles, which that Three of Pentacles is about somebody's putting in effort right now. I almost think because the barn is there and then the tractor is out here, and we have a couple of, crops that are already planted, but then we have this open spot where a crop is not been planted. It feels to me like, I don't know why I'm looking at the barn and the tractor, like two complementary, like different individuals. Four of Wands. Do we have two people kind of thinking about each other right now? I'm getting this impression that we may have characters who have either known each other for a long time. You notice how they've already kind of shaped their life to a certain extent. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. They've kind of already shaped their life into a certain direction. They've already planted some crops, but then this could be characters that have been married and divorced. They've kind of settled into who they are and, kind of know a little bit about their lives and themselves. They're both hard workers. They've kind of shaped and whittled their lives into things that make sense. This kind of feels like a very specific message, maybe for like midlife energy. So, characters that could be like 40s, 50s, 60s, perhaps. We get what we get in these stories, right? But I'm going to commit to that because that's what it's making me think of. We have a Two of Wands. We have a Nine of Wands. These are characters who've talk about busy bees, and they've been through some stuff. They've been hurt before, but they choose to like paint a brighter future for themselves. This feels amazing. This feels like we could have two characters that are either both thinking about each other, thinking about their own lives, thinking about where they're at in life, thinking about consciously like wanting to, move toward something more positive. The Nine of Wands is normally it's somebody is, overcoming some hurts, pains, obstacles. It's that wounded warrior energy, but I don't see any wounded energy here. I only see somebody very busy, somebody who's saying, I could choose to stay just as my life is, or I could add some more light and flowers into my life. This bee is obviously going to choose the flowers, right? This kind of feels, I don't know. Do we have a little something brewing between characters that are mature enough to know life is still pretty damn good and my run's not over yet? We've got that Nine of Pentacles. There's a certain sense of confidence. And with the morning glory flowers blooming here, it kind of says, maybe there's a reason I just bumped into you. Maybe there's a reason that, the planets are aligning in such a way because it's making me think that I have a new tomorrow. I have another run ahead of me. This feels like characters who had either been single for a period of time after having, significant life experiences, and then chalked it up to, those are chapters of my life, but now, I'm just solo and flowing and doing my own thing. And all of a sudden there's this new like inkling, like maybe it's not just me doing my own thing. Definitely some emotional interest here. The Girl of Cups or the Page of Cups can be a new emotional offer, a little bit of, just kind of some excitement emotionally. Like maybe these two vibe nicely or they've had a nice exchange. It could be very, very minimal. This can also be a card of possibly romance, or it can be a card of apology. But I haven't seen anything here to suggest that these characters are like thinking that they need to fix things between the two of them. It just looks like there's a potential to build something between the two of them. Kind of nice and kind of different energy on this, right? This doesn't feel like past stuff. This feels Let me ask more specifically. Universe, what's the vibe between, I'm going to say two people on this. Again, we have the Princess of Cups. Okay, so they're both in the same energy of like, my interest is a little bit piqued by you. There's something here. They're maybe both shy people. By the way, as always, we could have a same-sex couple or reverse gender role, but we have one of them at least is a little bit more shy than the other, or has had some kind of secret, emotions for the other that they just haven't said before. Hi, guys. So nice to see you all. We've got a 10 of sacred circles in the reverse. They're both very single. They both, although they started out as very optimistic, neither one of them had fulfillment somewhere in their life. Both of them have been like, they loved and lost. They built empires and had them crumble. Both of these characters have had the same collapse, is what it feels like. So they're both, I mean, I'm not laughing because that's funny. I'm like, they're both like kind of terrific people who've maybe been married, divorced, but they have come out of the rubble still optimistic and strong and willing to rebuild their lives and create stability for themselves. One of them is definitely the Emperor. Can we see who the other is? Oh, you guys are so wonderful. Yael, thank you, Angel. So great to see you. Mooney, Ivy, Samantha, Lyrical Galactic, Glow, thank you guys. Dolly, happy belated birthday, sweetheart. I hope it was wonderful. Ken Ramey, shout out to you, my dear. Thanks for being here. So we've got, and you're right. I know, right? We're headed. We've got our little retrograde pre-shadow. We'll do some retrograde messages once we get into the thick of it. For our zodiacs moving into probably next week is when I'll start putting those out, as well as next week to celebrate the year of the fire horse on the 17th. So we've got lots coming up. But we've got this Page of Pentacles as well. And I'm going to say in this storyline now, because I'm asking specifically who these characters are. He seems to be someone who has had more time to be single and rebuild his stability. She seems to be somebody who's only recently, starting to feel renewed and refreshed. Because she's in a Page's energy, he's in an Emperor's energy. So if they both experience losses in their life, hers was much more recent. She may be newly single, newly divorced. She may be starting a new business. This baby doesn't have to represent children. It can represent businesses. It can represent anything she's trying to nurture. But she's in a less stable energy, perhaps just because she's freshly starting to rebuild. Now, let me ask about this, because we had both of them in a vibe of like, they're interested in each other. There's something there, but I'm trying to figure out who does that particular, like the hidden attraction, who is that? Let me ask. Oh, Sleep Princess, wonderful, babe. We have a 2 of Wands. Lion Queen, Blonde and Bert, Dandy Me. Thank you, guys. So I said, who is it? And actually, with the 2 of Wands, maybe this is her. Maybe she's been attracted to this Emperor, but was still like, her heart was still busy, unclear or unsure about someone else from her past. Let me just ask, is that person from your past like no longer, a thing? Yeah, definitely no longer a thing. Okay, so we have a storyline really taking shape here where we have a divine feminine who could be an earth sign, so possibly Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus. She has possibly only recently said, I know that I'm never getting back together with an ex of mine. This would be the Judgment card. That ex of hers could have been a Scorpio, doesn't have to be, but for a period of time, she was in a limbo land, didn't really know what was going to happen between her and someone from her past. Would I ever have them back again? Would we ever do this again? I don't know. Well, she's come to the conclusion the answer is no. But for a period of time when she was uncertain, she did think about this Emperor. She's possibly, I don't know, she had them in the back of her mind, although maybe she just thought, oh, that's such a great person. They're such a nice person. I don't know if she knew anything about their own, you know, 10 of Pentacles in the reverse, their own collapse of their stability. She's only seen them as somebody that she has a lot of respect for. Let me ask, okay, masculine, how do you see her? Because obviously they both have that, you know, Page of Cups energy. They both have the attraction for each other. Six of Swords and Temperance. Interestingly enough, he sees her as possibly quite the earth angel, but as somebody who has clearly been moving on from her own, you know, chaos. So he must know something about the scoop. This feels like two people who have known enough about each other, you know, at least, or maybe just, you know, you keep bumping into somebody and, you know, they're always solo and it's like, if they were with somebody, sometime I'd see them with somebody, right? You know, and that's not always true. And we could have, you know, long distance romances. We can have partners that we work totally opposite shifts with, you know, but he seems to have looked at her as somebody who has been moving on from heartbreak, choppy waters, distress, and coming into a place of peace. He thinks she has a ton of like grace to her. Okay. So let me just ask, as far as that first Page of Cups energy, that, you know, interest that you have, we have a Six of Pentacles. He has never made even the slightest move in her direction. Okay, so he thinks highly of her, has known that she was moving on from some, you know, cataclysmic event in her own life, and he has made zero overtures to try to like get with her. And let me just ask, is that for a reason? Is it out of respect? Is it Four of Swords in the reverse? Let people heal. Let people do what they got to do. Let them get their footing. You know, he's that's true emperor material right there. He's not looking for someone to save. He respects people enough to say, look, I can read a room. I can pick up the vibe. If she's getting her bearings and she's getting balanced and stuff, and she's obviously been healing, I may appreciate her, think she's great, but I'm not going to step on her turf when I haven't read the signs that she's invited me in. So very respectful. Okay, but you do have that Girl of Cups there, or Page of Cups. Yeah, the Nine of Pentacles here. So his energy toward her again is he kind of sees her from afar, thinks she is stellar, thinks she has like, also, I don't know if he knows something about her, but he may sense that she has like some otherworldly type of wisdom. He sees her as a Nine of Pentacles, somebody who's very well put together. He sees her as confident, possibly financially stable, good with business. But then there's something special about her with that connection to that owl. What does that represent? How is it that you see her? The Empress. Okay, so he's playing it real cool, but there is something about her that it's like, oh, she's the kind I'd like to have. There is something about her that is very much self-possessed and definitely a cut above. This could even be, even though the owl is on her shoulder, he may have had an inkling for some time, even if he's not, you know, bringing it to the forefront of his mind, that at some point in time it's going to be you and me, because I'm an emperor and I already know you're an empress. He may have had like a flicker of awareness that somehow, some way, I think it's going to end up to be you and me. That could be on his side, which is so interesting. It's like he looked at her and maybe she felt familiar, or she felt like somehow, some way, there's something more here. But again, we see no movement on his part, nor on hers. But there's a mutual, like, I don't know, like a mutual appreciation, a mutual understanding. And this is starting to take a little more shape. Let's go back to the beginning here and ask if two people are on the same page, because the Three of Pentacles is always about like collaboration, and they both have built certain aspects of their life, gone through, you know, endings. They're both single, they're both solo. They both somehow know enough about each other to have had mutual appreciation for some period of time. And now we have this blank spot where, you know, you got the barn, I got the tractor. we could plant a really nice field together. They both know it. Something is changing in the space between them. Something is changing in the air between them. I kind of want to know, are they both aware of this at the same time? Are they both in that same space? He definitely is. It's becoming more crystal clear with that 10 of Pentacles. Okay, what about her? Page of Wands. Again, we keep seeing her in like Page's energy. She's only very freshly started to think of herself as totally single. And I mean, this could be really, really fresh because right now we see her just doing the thing where she's like reclaiming her, her interest in her own life again. Sometimes when we go through something tough, we lose ourselves to it for a bit, and then we go through a grieving process, and then we kind of come back to life, and then we start to like the taste of food again, and we start to get happy again, and we're joyful again, and we're exploring and things that we care about again. It almost feels to me like she's just now starting to like think about flirting, even just a tiny amount. He's in a much more advanced place, probably because he had more time to put his own, shambles of his life back together. We keep seeing him as an emperor. We keep seeing him as a 10 of Pentacles. We see him so stable all the time, which is great, especially if she's just come out of her own like destabilized situation. Okay, but let me just ask this. Feminine, are you interested in anything with this emperor at this point? Knight of Cups, Ace of Wands, Strength card sideways. Overall, she knows he's attractive. Overall, she is saying, oh, he is definitely someone that I would not say no thank you to. But is the bond super strong? No. It's not, or she's not completely like, she wouldn't be ready necessarily in this exact moment to just like jump into a hot-blooded romance. It says let me just ask, not to pressure her, but let me just ask, what is it that you need at this moment? Hanged Man, patience. Definitely before getting to any kind of like, I know this is a sensual card, but friendship, courtship, that would maybe be okay, but getting into a place of no clothes, because both of them are in scantily clad outfits. It's like that part, she's not quite ready for that. I don't think that's any difficulty for an emperor, because this emperor is already like, I think she's an empress. I see her as, I already know she's come out of something difficult. Also, the emperor is going to be in it to win it. If he's interested in her, even mildly, but has this inkling that is the kind of person that I would want as a long-term partner, he's in no race to get to the finish line because he already knows what the finish line is. Now, maybe these two aren't the perfect match. Right now, there's a perfect potential for them. We saw that with the very first card. So let me go back. 3 of Pentacles. What is it about these two that might make them really great together? 9 of Cups. They could definitely make each other very happy. In particular, I mean, I think he's terrific, maybe so much better than anybody she's known in the past. But likewise, I mean, he obviously would see her as somebody really spectacular, somebody that she's kind of even, she's looking up, but if you look at the vantage point, we're seeing her as if we're down here looking up toward her. So it kind of feels like both of these characters look up to each other to a certain extent, and that could be really, really nice. With that 5 of Cups, she has definitely known a certain amount of loss and grief. And if that's the other reason that he might actually make her really, really happy, and that I could see making an emperor really pleased. It's like, not like I said, emperors don't look for broken people to save, but would it be a lovely feather in his cap if he winds up, bonding to somebody that he respects, she respects him, and to boot, she is coming out of a difficult thing and sees him as like, oh my God, I was really sad before. I knew a lot of losses, and now it's replaced by all this happiness. Of course, that's going to make anybody feel really good. There's so many great songs. There's the one, oh God, My heart was broken. My heart was broken. You saw it, you cleaned it, you touched it, received it. Um, the brothers who sing I Would Walk 500 Miles, I'm sorry, I can't think of their name right now. Anyway, they have some beautiful ballads, and that the quote that I was just saying from one of their songs, such a pretty song and such a beautiful like violin segment to the song I was just mentioning. Anyway, somebody help me out for whomever this is. The singers, they're so talented. Oh my god, I love them so much, and I always do this with their names. I always want to say Thompson twins, and that's not who it is. But they're Irish brothers, right? The I Would Walk 500 Miles. Anyway, listen to their ballads. They're spectacular singers. So, final message on this, Two of Wands. Again, we're in a place where he's thinking an awful lot. We've already seen the Two of Wands. You notice how these two have very similar cards again and again and again. It's because they're on the same wavelength right now. They're Mrs. Bobby, Sissy, you're so awesome. Sparkle 11, thank you. The Proclaimer is yes. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Fiercely Awakened, thank you. You guys are wonderful. It feels really nice that, you know, he seems to be in a place of, it may not be the right time yet, but you know, that's the thing about being sensitive enough. You know, when you've gone through things yourself, it makes you understanding of where other people might be. If they're not clearly giving you the green light of, hey, I'm ready, then instead you can admire and appreciate somebody from a distance, and you can just be that safe space because you like them enough and you are compassionate enough to understand, hey, I've been down that road before where I was not ready for anything. I can sense and feel that same energy from her. But there is a mutual awareness that it's almost like maybe not right now, but a little bit on down the road, these two could be great together. There's already like a lot to be said for the wavelength that they're both on, the lack of pressure and intensity. And, you know, we just don't see that. We see basically mature characters who are grown up enough to say, even if I like somebody, and even if I have an inkling that we could, that could be somebody I could really see, you know, going the distance with. But something tells me not just yet. This isn't the approach time. That is really, I don't know, it just feels like that bodes so well. Three of Pentacles, once again, that's how we started out. Three of Pentacles is ultimately, it's not about romance. It's about collaborating. It's about building more of maybe a sincere friendship. It's about working together. It's about building a trust, you know, a base of trust. I could see these two becoming literally pals long before it ever becomes a romance. And I think that's maybe the perfect way for both of them to build something. And I don't think that there's any problem with that. But even that kind of, you know, like friendship, going to whatever, a concert or something together as friends, that could still take a little bit of time. But that's the way this one is going to be built. And it's probably because they are more mature characters. Let me just ask, actually, hang on, let me change and get a different deck and ask Universe, what's the potential outcome for these two? Because it looks really awesome so far anyway. Four of Pentacles, Higher Self, Six of Swords, Ten of Swords. Everything looks really, really good. So there's a couple cards here that the imagery is a little different than what the card traditionally means, right? This is a Ten of Swords, which normally talks about the ending of, you know, hurt, pain, and difficulties. But it's not the ending for the two of them, because instead what we see is the shipwreck has already occurred and the tough times are over and the sunlight and the calm seas are back. And we've got this, you know, rescue ship coming on in. This Four of Pentacles, which would normally be about holding back, you know, it can be the miserly card. But instead what we see is this little squirrel has been carefully putting, you know, his acorns in this knot of the tree, and this tree of life has continued to grow. This card also has kind of a different meaning, which is, you know, it takes time for characters to heal, but good things do take time. And I think both of these characters know it would be better for both of them to be completely healed and completely ready to green light something so that they can be matching energy for energy and they can finally build something awesome. They're not going to waste any time. There's no rush on this. They're not wasting time. They're actually, again, like the relationship could build the energy and even the attraction for each other, the appreciation for each other will just continue to build before they even get to the relationship. And then when it is relationship go time, it's going to be like like sunlight, on a calm ocean sea after storms. I really think that these two could be amazing together. This all says peace and calm and a vibe where the two of them, I almost think that these two are going to kind of maybe laugh together about like, man, it took us a long time to get here, didn't it? Yeah, High Priestess, the Magician, the Strength card. Absolutely gorgeous. This could be the most important relationship of both of their lives, and it goes so differently than any other relationship that either one of them ever had. And we're ending with 3 major arcana. One is about their energetic connection with that high priestess, the unspoken times. The next is about, the fact that they both did at some point or will at some point like choose to gravitate toward each other. And that's where that bond, when the strength card is totally upright, and remember, we saw it sideways for her for a period of time. When it's totally upright, when it's go time, that's where I think this bond is going to be unbreakable. I could see these two being the ones that they stay together for the rest of their lives. It's just we're seeing them before a romance begins. And it's nice to catch a storyline at that point. It's rare even to catch a storyline at that point. So very nice to see this. Alicia on her path, thank you so much. You are so generous, honey. Alicia on her path gifted yet another membership. Danielle Lital, you are now also a member courtesy of Alicia on her path. And so, of course, that means you can check out our members playlist. I would encourage you to do it before tomorrow. Every Monday, I post a new members only video, but you guys get to vote on what you guys want each week. You also, there's perks and stuff that I do in the members corner. So that's why I said, if you have a chance, check out last Monday's video so you can enter to win for this Monday. Thank you again, Alicia. That was so kind. And welcome, Danielle. Crystal Suzanne, thank you, honey. So good to see you. Sacred Heart, awesome to catch you. Emma Lisa, Marina's Luminosity, Wendy Parker. Thank you, guys. Joan, how are you, babe? I feel the same, Joan. I feel so touched. You guys are so sweet. The fact that you guys are here and hanging out and so kind to each other, so supportive of each other. It's the nicest thing ever. Sacred Heart and happy birthday again, Dolly. Lion Queen, thank you, hun. You guys are awesome. Ken Ramey, yeah, exactly. The Proclaimers, Sunshine on Leith. Thank you. I couldn't think of the title of it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Tries to go. You're so sweet. Thank you, Rhonda. All right, you guys. Take care. Hi, Melissa. Dancing Moon. Spiritually Awakened. Sparkle, thank you again. All right, you guys. I'll see you again in some Zodiacs next. Roots for Your Soul, wonderful to see you. Nor A, Deborah Abshire, G Long, Sunny Heaven, Verhita Beauty, Dandy Me, hi. Thanks again, Blondinbert, Sleep Princess, Yael, Glow, Lyrical Galactic, Mooney, Ivy, Samantha, Charlene Steele, hi. Shout out to you in New Zealand. Right back at you, babe. Thanks for being here. Ray Evelyn, Annette Summers B. Thank you, guys. Feel my soul. Thank you for the rose, love. Artemis Oracle, hey, hey. Chained Warrior, thank you for popping by. The Cataclysmic Awakening, wonderful to see you. Platinum Pug, Jessica, thank you, everybody. The Bayou Oracle, Anisha Chetu, you were first in the house today. It's Shriza Ali, hi, honey. You were second in the house. All right, you guys, I will see you again shortly for some Zodiacs. Lots of love, everybody. See you again soon. Bye.